Should we value our friends more, or should we value a lover more? If someone loves us in a romantic sense, are they going to be better for us than a friend? Questions like these take up the first part of Plato's dialogue, the Phaedrus. The story goes like this. Socrates runs into his friend Phaedrus, who's about to take a walk outside the city. Phaedrus mentions that he just heard a speech by an orator named Lysias, who talked about lovers versus non-lovers. Socrates' philosophy radar goes off, and because he gets horny over these things, he begs Phaedrus to relay the speech. They find a special tree, and Phaedrus gives the speech of Lysias. Socrates then responds initially in his typical fake admiration, but Phaedrus eventually gets him to break and say that he didn't actually like the speech. Socrates then gives his own speech on lovers and non-lovers, and that'll be another video. But here, we're going to be considering the speech of Lysias itself. Hey guys, it's Paul from Philosophy Tunes, and if you're in college or grad school, then I hope you had a great spring break. I went fishing down in Florida, caught this thing called an almaco jack, also went dancing at some club in Little Havana, and I saw some guys strike out trying to talk to some girls down in South Beach. But hey, shout out to them for at least trying. And that actually ties in pretty well with today's video topic. You see, the first speech, the speech from Lysias, actually is intended for those choosing between lovers or non-lovers. It's ancient Athens, so romance is kind of weird and pedo-ish, which is why the quotes here talk about boys and men. But the ideas themselves discussed apply broadly to all relationships, even today, so obviously apply these to your life instead of that ancient shit. So Lysias is arguing that we should favor non-lovers, and he starts his speech out with this. A man in love will wish he had not done you any favors once his desire dies down, but the time will never come for a man who's not in love to change his mind. That is because the favors he does for you are not forced but voluntary. So lovers want something. They want you romantically or sexually or both. And before any relationship blooms, like you're still in that flirting stage, it's probably the most exciting time. This is a brand new person you find physically attractive. You try flirting using this line or that line. You're trying to gauge what they're into and what they're not into. And there's an uncertainty there, and that possibility is exciting. Now, when someone is in this pre-relationship state, but they're talking to someone, they want to be pleasing to that other person. This might take the form of overlooking some faults, overly complimenting them, and in extreme cases, doing favors for that person. But these actions are done in hope that a romance can blossom, or just sex in some cases, which means there's a motivation to be untrue not only with the other person, but with yourself if it goes towards that potential love. But a non-lover, on the other hand, has no such motivation. I mean, you don't go out into the world and be like, wow, I want to make this specific random stranger my friend. Instead, friendships just kinda happen naturally, because you both vibe with each other. There's no real end goal to be achieved with friendships, they just sorta go on, you know? So when a goal is not achieved for the lover, they might halt those favors and compliments, while the friend would give those things voluntarily because they aren't after some goal. At least this is what I believe Lysias means. Or Plato writing as Lysias, you know, whatever. His next point is a little bit more mathematical and straightforward. He basically says that if you choose people who love you over those who don't, you'd have a smaller group of people to choose from. Like if you had to choose the best for you out of a group of those who romantically love you versus those who don't, you'd have a larger selection pool with the latter. His point after this, though, is not so numerical. For a lover is easily annoyed, and whatever happens, he'll think it was designed to hurt him. This is why a lover prevents the boy he loves from spending time with other people. Basically, this point is that the lover will get jealous about other people the person they're into is hanging out with, and this will result in the lover restricting this person from socializing with others. This also might be a good time to say that I don't personally endorse any of these arguments, and neither does Plato for that matter, as a later speech goes against these ideas. But yeah, obviously toxic relationships do exist where someone restricts their partner from hanging out with others due to jealousy. But it seems like the majority of relationships aren't toxic like this, and it definitely isn't an inherent action of a lover. I mean, it's unrealistic to say that jealousy is 100% never in the picture, but the idea that lovers will always or even mostly restrict your social life is a bit much. The point after this talks about physical attraction. Another point. Lovers generally start to desire your body before they know your character, or have any experience of your other traits, with the result that even they can't tell whether they'll still want to be friends with you after their desire is past. In contrast to the last point, I don't think it's super uncontroversial to think that lovers will first consider physical attraction before personality. You know, people get into this argument about whether looks matter or personality, and I don't know why it has to be one or the other. In most cases, I think looks get you in the door, but personality gets you to stay. Because if you're at a bar or a club or even on a dating app, you aren't going to be considering someone's personality before talking to them. You choose who you want to flirt with and talk to on the basis of someone's looks. Then if you vibe well with their personality and traits, then love blossoms. With friends, I mean, you don't choose friends based on looks. But for me at least, making friends isn't me going into a room and pointing out people to try and make friends with. Friendship happens naturally between people in similar situations. Classmates, roommates, you know the drill. You don't walk into a restaurant, go up to a random person and be like, "Do you want to be my friend?" I mean though, if someone did that to me, I'd be curious enough to be their friend. And Lysias' last point is that a lover will agree with you and praise you too much. A lover will praise what you say and what you do far beyond what is best. Partly because he's afraid of being disliked, and partly because desire has impaired his judgment. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this a point against lovers? I mean, I love being praised. I'm super awesome and have zero flaws. Really though? I mean, for me, my whole existence in itself is a flaw. But really, how are we gonna grow if people don't speak their true thoughts about us? If people don't call us out or critique us on how we could change? And hey, maybe they're wrong in their critique. But by bringing up a critique in the first place, it helps us reflect on those parts of us that might need changing. The thing is, I don't see this as being a necessity in all love-related situations. I think healthy couples communicate well and want each other to grow, which means being honest. If your partner does something that hurts you, you should let them know, even if you love them. But I do also think about the people in the pre-relationship phase, the flirting phase. I can imagine some people out there looking past red flags because they want that love so badly. It makes me think about that Tinder experiment where they made fake profiles of models, but put that they were a Nazi in the bio or whatever. And people looked past that because they were just that horny. Crazy, huh? Well, these are the 4 points that Lysias makes in his speech which favors non-lovers over lovers. Let me know what you think in the comments. Agree? Disagree? Think Lysias is a f***ing idiot? Let me know. If you got any value out of this video, consider subscribing, liking, and hitting the bell. And with that, I wish you all a beautiful rest of your day.